Good morning, everybody. Morning meditation is going to start in just a minute. So let me just give everybody a little time to join in with us. Happy Father's Day to those of you who are fathers, and happy solstice. I understand that there's a solar eclipse today too. So it seems like it's a precious day today. So I wanted to meditate today, and as part of my Father's Day gift, because I enjoy leading and I enjoy sharing it with others. So thank you for joining me. And we're going to go ahead and get started. And I'm just, sorry, let me adjust my camera just a little bit more here. So, just getting yourself comfortable, and whatever that is, in your chair, couch, or a bed even, it's fine. Preferably you don't fall asleep. And just then taking in a nice deep breath. And just letting go of all of your stress, letting go of all your worries. You truly don't need to carry any of that into this meditation. In fact, this meditation is about emptying out so that we can experience that truth of who we are that goes beyond the mind, which means goes beyond the judgments, beyond the stress, beyond the future, which is worries. So this is about just really letting all of it go. So I do invite you just to let go of all the past. And I really do mean all of it. And sometimes the mind will fight back on us a little bit with this. So if you have any hesitance that it's okay to let go of the past, maybe the part of the mind says, I'm responsible for it. I need to suffer through it. Whatever the mind wants to say, it's all good. It's just the mind doing its thing, and that's fine. But at least for this meditation, I'm inviting you to just let all of the past go. The past is the past, and we at least don't need to bring it into this meditation, but certainly we don't need to bring it into our life as well. And of course, things happen in our lives, in our humanness, in our mind, our head, our unconscious self, where we do things that we just simply aren't aware of what we're doing in that moment. And so that's why it is forgivable. It's all forgivable. And in truth, when we step beyond and we transcend the mind, there's actually nothing even to forgive. We see that was just us playing out this human role, this role of form. But this is about moving beyond form, moving beyond the body, moving beyond the physical mind, and certainly moving beyond the thoughts and beliefs as to who we are. So I also invite you to let go of all your worries. That means the future, our concerns for what the future holds. And none of us know what that is. We can speculate, but that comes from the head. So usually our mind makes our future, our worries are far worse than what usually happens. And then, of course, we don't know that either. But what I do trust is that we're each being brought what we need to help us to awaken to who we are. Life, God, the universe are always, always giving us exactly what we need. And the more that we can have trust and faith that this is so, there's this beautiful freedom that comes along with it, this beauty and freedom of just allowing life to present whatever it needs to present exactly when it needs to. So I also invite you just to let go of all the labels and the self-images of who you think you are. And the mind has a lot to say about this. The ego, the personality, all the things that we think we are. And usually it's not good. The mind would try to convince us that we're not enough, that we should have done this instead of that we're too fat, too skinny, too old, too young, whatever stories it is. I invite you to empty out and let go of all the stories of who you think you are. And the first time I had the awareness that I am not my thoughts, I had a, oh my God kind of moment where I realized that I had no idea who I was in the past. And for the first time, when I opened my eyes and I just saw myself and the world through the eyes of awareness, it changed my life entirely. And that is available to all of us. Every single person has that same capability. And my hope, my commitment to you right now is to help you to empty out as much as possible so that you can taste this or get a glimpse of this. Perhaps some will, perhaps some won't. It's all perfect. At the very least, you let go of those things that you are not. And the teacher Eckhart Tolle once said, sometimes we have to empty out who we are not to discover who we are. And that's what this meditation is about. So as we go along emptying out, if the mind convinces you that I can't let this go, or I won't let this go, or I shouldn't let this go, I invite you to explore anyhow. Just explore this meditation anyhow by, if you can't let it go, then just suspend it. Just suspend it and set it to the side, at least for this meditation. And then if you want to pick it back up afterwards, you can. So also in the letting go, I also invite you to let go of even the things you would judge as good about yourself. That you're kind, compassionate, loving. Because the problem is, and it's of course not a problem of being kind, loving, and compassionate. They're all wonderful qualities. But as soon as we start labeling that we are good in this way, then it also must mean that if somebody is not that, then they must be bad. So we're still trapped in the world of duality. This is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. That all comes from the mind. When you transcend the mind, when you go beyond it and you experience your true self, you see that it is beyond duality, and that the true self is at complete peace with life, with yourself. It is peace, it is love, it is joy. And so the more you can let go of all the stories, good or bad, just empty it all out so that there's this innocence and this freshness, this newness with each moment. And you don't have to speak out. You don't have to act out based on all the filters of who your mind thinks you are. And how freeing is that to just not have to act out in any way of how you're supposed to act, how you think you should act. But the more we can empty out and we can just respond and act from a place of innocence and freshness, then every moment can be creative and new and beautiful. I also invite you to let go of all the control that you have. And it's like floating down the river of life. Why would you want to swim upstream and fight life? Why would you fight the river? But that's what we're so often doing in life. But I have found that the more I can just surrender in the river of life and just rather than fighting it, just trust that life, that God, that the universe, that they have my back and they're interested in my awakening and they're interested in your awakening. And so the more that we can again surrender and have trust and faith that we are being well taken care of. When I fully gave my life over to the river of life, it brought up fears. It brought up the fear that if I fully give my life over to life, to love, to the truth of who I am, to the ocean of God, whatever you want to call it, when I started to do that, I had a fear that if I just allow life to do whatever it wants with me, then I could end up losing a limb or getting in an accident or losing, my wife or son or a loved one. All these fears came up. But I did it anyhow. I let go of all I could and just fully surrendered into life, so fully surrendered into love and trusted that it would bring me exactly what I need, exactly when I need it. And again, how freeing that is to not have to try to figure out what I need to do out of life, to not try to control my life or manipulate it, or to control others or manipulate others so that my mind can get what it thinks I need. We have a chance for freedom right now in this moment. The mind wants to convince us that we have to wait for something to happen. And usually it's waiting for something outside of ourselves, more money, better job, better relationships. Or for some, it might be they want more control or more power. It doesn't matter what it is, it's all of the mind. But the truth is, we don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to do anything to earn this truth of who we are, because the truth of who we are has always been us and will always be us. And you can get rid of all the stuff, just empty it all out. But there's one thing you will never, ever be able to empty out, and that is the truth of who you are. You are that truth. You will always be that truth. And who are you really? Are you your body? Are you your physical mind? Are you your thoughts or experiences? Are you a combination of all those things? But my question to you is, if you are your body, your mind, your thoughts, your experiences, then I would like to know, who is it that is aware of your body? Who is that's aware of your thoughts? Who is it that is aware of the sound of my voice or sounds around them? Or or feeling or listening, touching, whatever the five senses bring, who is it that is aware of all of it? Because someday all of these things will pass away. They're all temporary. So if they are temporary, and if you are them, that would mean that you cannot continue to exist. But the one thing that always exists, that always continues on, that is always here and will always be here, is your true self. The one that is able to watch it all. And it's like watching a movie. And sometimes we think we are one of the characters in the movie, and we get pulled into the movie, into the drama of life. And as long as we come from the head and not from the heart, we will always be pulled into the drama of life. We will always experience stress. We will always experience suffering. Why is that? Because that's what the mind does. And as long as we believe the mind to be true, all these beliefs that it's telling us, we will always experience fear and blame and judgment and guilt and shame. And worse yet, maybe worse yet, I don't know. But still, we can heal 1, 2, or 10 issues in our life. But as long as we are coming from the head, there will be another 1, 2, 3, or 10 issues that pop up. Because the mind is always judging, always blaming, and it always comes from a place of duality. This is good, this is bad, this is right, this is wrong. So the only way we will ever transcend that is to move beyond the mind and connect with our formless self. Our true self that is beyond any form, that is empty. Our self, our true self, is just emptiness. So when you hear that we are one, when you connect with your formless self, you see that it cannot be otherwise. Because we are all space, we are all emptiness, we are infinite. Because in the emptiness, there is no beginning and there is no end. And we are all a part of that. And this is not reserved for a special few. We were all created in the likeness and the image of God, the likeness and the image of life, of the universe. So I invite you just to bring your awareness to your body. And just be aware if there's any stress, heaviness, or discomfort or pain in any way. Just simply being aware of it. I am not asking you to get rid of it. I am not asking you to fight it or make it bad or wrong even. Everything that presents itself in our life is here to teach us and to awaken us to the truth of who we are. So all I'm asking you to do is just simply be aware of it. And you will find that when you just bring your awareness to anything, you are bringing love, you are bringing peace, you are bringing healing energy. There's nothing you need to fight against. We spend so much time trying to get rid of things in our life. Physical pain, emotional, mental pain. only to later on realize that it was that exact thing that we're trying to get rid of that is helping us to awaken to the truth of who we are. I'm inviting you right now in this very moment to just completely let go of all the stories, all the beliefs, all the judgments and the blame of yourself, of the world, and of others. And sometimes the mind gets busy off this because the mind would convince us that there's so much bad in the world. And even with me saying that, the mind still may be busy with you saying, well, of course, there is a lot of bad in the world. Who is it that's saying that? Is it your mind? Is it you? I can only share with you from that truth of which I am. That truth that has stepped beyond judgment and blame, that sees that those things that we judge and blame are here for our awakening. And the mind wants to understand this, it wants to comprehend it. And so it tries to figure it out. And it tries to come up with all these solutions to the problem, all which put you in your head and not in your heart. Now, you may hear this, that I'm saying that we can't take action in the world to do good in the world, good in quotations. But I'm suggesting that when you step beyond needing to fix or change yourself, or needing to fix or change the world as if they are wrong, and you step beyond that, then you see all of your action arises out of the stillness. It arises within your heart that is rooted in love and peace. So much action is taken in this world from a place of hurt and pain and judgment and fear and blame. What if we were not coming from those places and we came from just love and respect of others, and we acted from that place, so that we're coming from a place of wisdom, of divine wisdom and peace. It's rooted in peace and freedom. We would find that so many of our boundaries and divisions that we have would simply fall away. We would simply recognize that they're unnecessary. So I invite you to let go of your need to hold on to anything. You don't need to hold on to anything. You don't need to hold on to relationships. You don't need to hold on to money. You don't even need to hold on to life or your body. And the more you can let go of those, the more you can begin to connect with your formless self, your true self, that comes from a place of creativity and innocence in every single moment. You allow life to flow through you, that you're part of life, you're part of that river of life, where you're joyfully floating down, just joyfully floating down. And it doesn't mean there won't be some rapids along the way in the river of life. But if you don't fight them, and if you can have trust and faith that those two are here to serve you, then it can all be a joyride. It's only when we try to get rid of it, we make it bad or wrong, that suffering and stress begin to happen. I say this with all sincerity in my heart. Not only are you loved, you are love. That is your true nature. It's only these stories that we've been caught in our minds that we have forgotten the truth of who we are. Are you ready to remember? Are you? Are you ready to let go of all these things that you are not? Are you ready to let go of all the guilt, the shame, the blame, those things that keep you locked into the suffering of life? And if you're not ready to let go of them, are you at least open and willing to suspend those and set those to the side for right now during this meditation? So, as we begin to segue out of the guided part of this meditation, there will be thoughts that come into your mind. That's just what the mind does. The mind is not bad, it's not wrong, but it's also not our God, and it's not our master. But as you can see around you and perhaps within your own self, it has ruled the roost. We have fallen prey and become a slave to the mind. Moving beyond the inequities of the world starts first and foremost with moving beyond the inequities within ourself and actually moving beyond the self, the limited self, so that we can connect with the true self, our God self, our divine self, our pure self, our authentic self. And when we do that, we begin to see how everything begins to correct itself in the world. We begin to live in a state of praise and gratitude and love, compassion. So, right now, just bringing your awareness to your breath. Just being aware of your breath. And the absolute beautiful thing about your breath is that it takes care of you over and over and over again without you needing to do anything. All that is simply required is for you to just simply be aware of your breath. That's all. Just to be aware of it. Just notice how it gently, easily, effortlessly flows in and out like the waves of an ocean. You're just watching the waves, just observing. And in that awareness, in that observation, you will notice that thoughts will come in. And it doesn't matter whether you have one thought or 1,000 thoughts. It really doesn't matter. What does matter is that as soon as you become aware of the thought or thoughts, just simply allow them to pass on by like a gentle breeze. You wouldn't try to fight the breeze or try to get rid of it or correct it or make it bad or wrong. Just simply allow the breeze to pass on by. Allow the thought to just simply pass on by. You see, we get caught up in the happenings of life, the situation, and we make the situation bad or wrong. But if we can simply be aware of it, just like the thought, and just allow it to pass on by. We can literally be at peace with anything. We can have the worst of thoughts, thoughts of anger and hatred, and as long as that we don't believe those thoughts to be true, that we don't believe that we're the mind and the thoughts, and we can just allow them to pass on by, there is peace in that moment as well. So let us just begin to segue into more of a silent meditation. And as soon as the thoughts present themselves, just simply come back to being aware of your breath. And if your mind has drifted, you don't need to follow the thoughts through or try to analyze them or figure them out. Just simply come back to being aware of your breath. And again, just coming back to being aware of the breath, which brings you right back to the present moment and connects you with who you are, the one watching everything. And again, just coming back to the present moment, back to being aware of the breath. And again, if your mind has drifted, don't make it bad or wrong, or don't try to still your mind. Just when you notice a thought, come back to being aware of your breath. And just coming back into this space and time, taking in a nice deep breath. And you may want to move your body around a little bit just to, get some blood flowing through there and make sure you're fully back into your body. And whenever you're ready, opening your eyes. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Happy Father's Day to the fathers out there. Happy solstice. Happy, let's see, there's something else. What did I say at the beginning? I think there's a solar eclipse going on today. I think there's one other thing too. It seems like a wonderful day. So if you enjoyed the meditation, I ask if you would please subscribe to my page. I'm just building this up, just starting this, and I would love to share more with this. And I do inspirational talks quite often as well. So those maybe post on here. I have a podcast that's part of my channel as well that I just completed that I felt very good about, went well. So thank you. Thank you so much for joining. I don't know if anybody has any questions. I will stick around for just a couple moments or so if anybody does. So thank you again. Thanks for joining. I greatly appreciate it. Oh, thank you, Jane. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I didn't realize you were there. It's nice to see you again. So it looks like that's it. I don't know if anybody else. I'm going to call it good. And have yourself a beautiful day.